Fani Willis is battling to keep her job as Fulton County District Attorney. It seems she wants to do a little changing of the rules. You remember when I told you the standard was set at conflict of interest or an appearance of conflict of interest? Well, Fani wants to make that standard a little higher for her to be disqualified. And her reason for doing this is because her opponents failed to establish an actual conflict of interest. And that's why she says she wants to remain on the case. Well, Donald Trump's lawyer, Steve Sadow, isn't going to take that laying down. If you don't know Steve Sadow, he's one of the breakout stars from this. He was obviously a high-powered attorney before this. He also got the rapper Gunna out of his RICO charge, got him a plea deal where he didn't technically have to give anybody up, or where his testimony can't be used against anybody else, as well as Rick Ross and a list of high-profile rappers. Well, now he's representing the biggest rapper of them all, Donald Trump. No. Now he's representing Donald Trump. This is the filing. It's a thing of beauty to watch this, man. And we got the brief, and here it is. State of Georgia versus Donald John Trump. If you notice this time, it doesn't have the whole list of all the co-defendants. This is a one-on-one type event. President Trump's initial reply to the state's supplemental post-hearing brief concerning disqualification of an elected district attorney. President Trump's initial reply to the state's supplemental brief addresses only the argument on forensic misconduct. In footnote on page 2 of its brief, the state maintains that the evidence presented does not even come close to establishing that the district attorney's statements were part of a calculated plan, evincing a design to prejudice the defendants in the minds of potential jurors. The standard required for filing a forensic misconduct, Williams v. State, 258 Georgia 305 313 1988. No prosecutor in Georgia has ever been disqualified from prosecuting any case on grounds of forensic misconduct, and this case should not be the first. Well, Steve Sadow seems to think that this should be the first case. It's obvious that this was a big case. It's taken all the collective energy. It's been one of the biggest stories going because you have a sitting DA trying to potentially affect a presidential campaign, right? Because we know the stakes here. Donald Trump gets convicted of it. If his co-defendants getting convicted of this, there is no 2024 presidential bid. He's out. So there's a lot hanging in the balance. But Williams does not set that as a sole test or the standard for all types of forensic misconduct. What Williams actually says, and Steve Sadow going to get it together, he's going to make it clear to you. This is what Williams actually says. One of the primary examples of forensic misconduct consists of the improper expression by the prosecuting attorney of his personal belief in the defendant's guilt. See Vermont v. Homan, Supra. In determining whether an improper statement of the prosecutor as to the defendant's guilt requires his disqualification, the courts have taken into consideration whether such remarks were part of a calculated plan evincing a design to prejudice the defendant in the minds of jurors. The minds of the jurors. Okay, so he's going into what he thinks is prejudicing any jury that would take on this case of the state versus Donald Trump. Prejudice the defendant in the minds of the jurors, or whether such remarks were inadvertent, albeit improper utterances. Our case implicates far more appealing and unforgivable types of forensic misconduct, deliberately stoking racial and religious prejudice against defense counsel and the defendants. He's talking about the church speeches that Fani was making, right? That's what he's talking about. Yeah, he mentioned that in the closing arguments.
I appointed 3 special counsel, as is my right to do, paid them all the same hourly rate. They only attacked one.
You saw the Fani Willis. You saw that deal? Her boyfriend, she gave him $1 million to go get Trump, right? And then they go on vacation, spending the $1 million.
Where Fani Willis evoking the black church, which, you know, even Bradley said, yo, I didn't like how she did that. In the text message change with Ashley Merchant, he said, I did not like how she kind of used the black church to her benefit to I guess, help her adulterous affairs and help her image, in the mind of the black community of Fulton County. It seems like Fani doesn't really respect the churches that she's going to make these speeches, and they're willing for some reason. I don't know if it's just the look or the attention that they'll get. They're willing to let her stand in the pulpit and basically lie, for lack of a better term. It's terrible. Deliberately stoking racial and religious prejudice against defense counsel and the defendants, testifying under oath untruthfully, and committing fraud upon the tribunal in the prosecution of the defendants. It involves, 1, elected District Attorney Willis wantonly playing both the race and religion card. Now, I usually have a problem when people throw up the fact that you're playing the race card, but in this case, it actually applies. Like, when you're appealing specifically to them for sympathy, then this is a practical application of that race card situation. In her extrajudicial MLK holiday church speech, in quotes, in a calculated plan to prejudice defense counsel and the defendants, himself and the defendants, in the minds of potential Fulton County jurors, and 2, elected District Attorney Willis and her then lover, she hired Special Assistant District Attorney Wade, testifying falsely in a hearing before the court on a material factual issue, whether their personal relationship began before Wade was hired. While the state claims that no prosecutor has ever been disqualified in Georgia for forensic misconduct, no prosecutor in Georgia, elected or otherwise, has engaged in misconduct like Willis and Wade have here. Woo! Yeah, he's getting after him. he's tearing them up. And this is only 3 pages, man. He didn't even go hard on him. Fani's original filing was like 17 pages, and here he goes with 3 pages. He's getting it all on the table. Elected district attorney, constitutional officer, notwithstanding, the remedy must fit the misconduct. This court must not permit Willis and Wade to continue to prosecute this case where they have flouted and violated Georgia rules of professional conduct. And to do otherwise will be viewed by the public and within the criminal justice system as an open license for prosecutors to engage in flagrant and egregious misconduct without repercussion or appropriate sanctions by the very court before which the misconduct occurred. Dismissal and disqualification are the appropriate remedies here. Respectfully submitted, Stephen Sadow. Drop a bomb on that. Legal counsel for Donald Trump, for the defendant. That was filed on March 5th. So yeah, you can see this. They're not playing. They are really saying that this is not going to go away. So yeah, they're serious right here. What Fani Willis filed, playing the system in the way, because she's got a team of lawyers with her. So she's got unlimited resources of people that could write these filings in response or filings after the fact. But they're countering every one of them. Of course, you got 19 co-defendants, so somebody's going to say something, right? They want to get her off of this case immediately. And I think they have proven that there is at least an appearance of a conflict of interest. And as long as they can get that, which, like Fani's saying, she wants the standard raised, as long as they can get that, Fani Willis is off the case. It gets transferred to another county, and hopefully they'll have a more sympathetic judge and potentially jury. Or they might throw the case out entirely. That might be the ideal situation because, of course, there's several legal battles out there all over the country for Donald Trump, especially that New York one. But Steve Sadow is a shark, man. And honestly, if you're in this situation, he's got RICO experience, unlike Nathan Wade. You remember? I told you all before that I heard that trying RICO cases, you should have experience in this specific area of the law. Of course, Nathan Wade didn't have any of that, but somehow Fani Willis, no conflict of interest, gives her boyfriend a shot at this job. and pays him $700,000. Methinks a conflict of interest is afoot. I think that's how you say it in the Shakespearean. Anyway, let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification for all uploads. If you want to watch more, please watch one of these videos down below. This is Faucette Media. That's the kind of lawyer you need. You need somebody aggressive who's going to go right at him, get it done in 3 pages, 2.5.